Hello, everybody. Welcome along. Post-match reaction here on the Rangers Rabble. Yeah, that pretty much sums up my feelings. Nine-man Rangers draw 2-2 with Hibs in Edinburgh. A late equaliser for Hibs sees us drop 2 points. I'm not even going to come and ask you how you all are. I think we'll just dive straight into it. We could talk about the goals, Ross. We could talk about defending, but obviously the first place we have to start is the sending offs. Firstly, Lundstram.
Never in a MD who's played football knows that that's exactly what you want your team to do. If somebody's breaking, you're caught out, you're in their half, you make a professional foul. Folk do it constantly. It's a part of modern day football, breaking up the play, folk call it. The fact that Doyle Hayes done it to Lundstram in the first half and only got a booking, which was actually merely a lunge doing Lundstram's, is an absolute joke. And as for the second red card, mate, the boy's an imbecile, man, honestly. Like, I just don't get him. I don't get him. I said in the group chat at the time when we took Colak off for him, this was a risk because his fitness. But I thought he was done with that urge to... He slapped the boy twice and kicked him. Fair enough, you can say he was feeling for his defender, but that doesn't excuse him kicking him at the same time. And it's a manner of the referee that's brought them together to get him a red card. The referee was shite, but anybody who says Morelos isn't a straight red card's blinded by the big buff blinkers, because it's a red card all day long. He's an idiot.
Focusing, Mark, firstly on Lundstram, because we've all come to Morelos. Can you explain to me, can you give me any reason why Willie Collins sees that as a red card?
I don't think anybody that's ever watched a game of football, anybody that's ever seen that kind of tackle in any game, every single one of them will tell you that that's a yellow card. There is no way on earth that is not any more than a yellow card. There's no any intent. He's not attempting to injure the player. It's no violent conduct. So, I mean, the only thing he has done is he's stretched to catch his trailing leg, knowing that if he clips his trailing leg, his other leg's going to hit together and he's going to come down. And he's going to stop the break. And that's a professional foul. That is the epitome of a professional foul. And 99.9% of every other game in the world, that's a yellow card. For some reason, silly Colin, I don't know what he's done, what he's got in his head. I think he's thought it's the silly Colin show, and he's thought I'm sending it. I can't understand why he sent him off. I think he's sitting just now in his dressing room thinking to himself, why did I send him off? I think his two linesmen and his fourth official are all going like that to him. Why did you send him off? Because that was not a sending off. I don't think you'll ever see a sending off for that ever again, unless it's Willie Collum that's officiating. Clown.
Obviously, Graham, VAR's going to be coming in as it halfway through the season. Is this one of those times where we can look back towards the end of the season and go, had VAR been in for the start, that's something that could have been overturned?
It should, but unfortunately, in this country with these officials, it might sound a wee bit nuts, but I wouldn't even trust VAR in this country, where these people aren't going to be controlling it. They don't know the rules. There was actually a Monday Night Football segment done on Fernandinho, and they were applauding him, saying that's how you stop counter-attacks. That's how City never get counter-attacked on, because they all do it, and they get booked, and that's it. But up here, Lundstram does it exact same as Ross was saying, as the boy Doyle Hayes. Less than his, and we got a red card for that. And it was quick enough to get it out. He was dying to get it out. And then that's the only thing I'll say about Morelos as well, actually. He was dying to get that. As soon as he seen Morelos doing it, he was happy as anything. They could get the red card out for him. But it's a red card.
Yeah, you know, the more I'm thinking about it, Ross, I think you're right. The Morelos one. What's Morelos thinking? What's going through his head? We're winning. We're still down to 10 men, but it's not the end of the world. You know, we're still looking okay with 10 men. Morelos comes on to try and help the team, get the team, like I think you said before we started, get the team further up the pitch, and then he goes and does something like that.
Mate, I folk are blinded by Morelos' performances in Europe for us. He ragdolls defenders, he does this, he does that. Mate, how many times has he let us down? And you've got what looks like, I said to you last night, a consummate professional in Colak, who's also bustling defenders about. See the first Lawrence's goal today. Colak makes a dart across the front post, it takes the defender away and leaves Lawrence. But nobody will look at that. Because folk are so blinded by Alfredo Morelos, Rangers legend, blah blah blah. Mate, he's let us down more times than anybody else in the world. That's a game the day that we could have seen out at 2-1 if Morelos doesn't start acting like a tube. And I don't care when he first came to the country and he was settling in and he was kicking out and he was doing this and he was doing that. Everybody went, he's not a young boy anymore, and he should be busting his arse to get his place back. He's been gave half an hour a day, probably didn't even deserve, to try and get him minutes in the legs. And I think Van Bronckhorst must be feeling the pressure of folk questioning why Morelos isn't getting minutes. But see, for me, he sits on his arse and gets splinters now until such times as Colak gets injured or has a severe lacking form. And I'm not talking about Colak no scoring for a couple of games. I'm talking about Colak playing rotten for a couple of games before he even gets a sniff.
Mark, obviously, look, this is immediate post-match reaction, so we're all a bit angry and whatever, but Morelos has just set himself back there, and I'm not talking about, not getting the minutes that he needs, but he set himself back with that just ridiculous behaviour.
Just stupid, that. It's just stupid. You cannot lift your hands. It's as simple as that. I mean, it's rule one in the book, isn't it? Don't lift your hands. Don't put your head into anybody. Simple as that. Doesn't matter how hard you do it, how soft you do it. You cannot lift your hands. It's as simple as that. And he knows it, and they all know it. You'd think to yourself, if it was me and I was trying to get back into the side and come back from injury, this boy Colak's coming in. He's banging in goals. Goal every game since he's come in. This boy's a threat to my position. Why am I fanning about, flinging kicks and elbows and at players when I should be getting a stone of weight off and I should be getting fit and I should be showing up anytime I go on that park? Let's team doing. It's cost us 2 points today. Simple as that. Plain and simple. Don't get me wrong. We weren't great. We weren't great at all today. It had shades of probably last season about it today. But that's not the point. The point is that he has cost us. Because at 10 men, we could probably get away with it. Down to 9. It's cost us 2 points, simple as that, and it's not acceptable. It really isn't.
The difference, sorry Martin, the difference for me is, see if you're down to 10 men and we don't go on to win the game, you've got the excuse to blame Colum. All the talking's on Colum, all the spotlight's on Colum, because Colum made a shocker of a decision to send John Lundstram off. The fact that Morelos has come on, and I see people in the comments, it's a yellow card at most. Watch it twice. He palms him away twice, slaps him in the face, and people could say that's a yellow card. He's watching the ball, he's feeling for the defender. Fair dues, yellow card. So what's his left leg then, coming out and kicking him? It's a petulant kick. It's what he does. And anybody in the comments who's telling me I'm a soft cunt or I'm this or I'm that because I think it's a red card has never played football in their life and doesn't know the rules of football, because he's blatantly, petulantly kicked him.
Can I just say hello and welcome to a new member, Dyer Bus. Seems a bit right for the day, but yeah, thank you for becoming a member. Graham, there's also the added negativity around the Lundstram sending off that if that doesn't get overturned, I believe he misses the Old Firm or Glasgow Derby or Celtic versus Sevco or whatever you want to call it.
I think, I don't know if the Queen of the South game counts as a one that he'd miss, but I think if that doesn't count, I think he does miss that, and then Morelos as well. But I'd be shocked if the Lundstram one doesn't get overturned, to be honest. If that doesn't get overturned, then questions need asked. Big time.
Aye. The performance overall, Ross, before all the shenanigans with yellows and reds, not good enough.
No. But again, we spoke at half time You can make exceptions and say the team's gelling, poker getting to know each other's patterns of play and whatever else, but it was clear for anybody to see that Ryan Jack was struggling after 20 minutes. He was blown out his arse, and he's seen that game out through other people. But if you're bringing King on, why not bring King on a bit earlier? Graham said that in the chat. Bring King on a bit earlier, have a big physical centre half inside Goalson playing his normal position, and move Sands in and take Jack out. Because he was struggling, he was running through treacle. He doesn't know, he's lost his place in the team, and he's now being shoehorned in as we need two sitting mids, so you go into the fray. But Lundstram's doing Jack's role, and he's doing it better than Jack does on a more consistent basis, and he's going to be available on a more consistent basis. So there's a few bits of the part. Again, Matondo looked great last week. Then the day looked dire, to be honest. But he's a young winger. You're going to get that. Kent was like that in his first season. Was unfortunately no Kent. Again, we spoke at half time. Kent's decision making. The red card comes for Kent making an arse of it and losing the ball and letting them break on us, trying to come inside and do something fancy again. And that's how Lundstram's got to take the professional foul. So it's wee micro decisions all over the park that have cost us a day. But Kent and Morelos are two people that the vocal majority of Rangers players will tell you can't say bad about them because they're the best we've got. Well, there you go. That's what's happened today. One red cards came from a bad decision by a referee, but Kent's decision gave him the choice. And the other red card has came from your talisman, your best striker at the club. I seen somebody writing in the comments there, Morelos' top goal scoring in a SPFL season is 17 goals in 38 games. If you play Colak every week, Colak will have scored 20 by Christmas.
Yeah, you're not going to get any argument for me.
Just on one of the things that Ross said there, the exact same thing happened with Kamara as well when Gio took over. And Kamara started looking lost. What was his position? Exact same thing. When they moved him to the holding midfield role, and then when Lundstram started playing well, he didn't really know where he fitted in the team. It was the exact same thing with Jack the day. Two of them just looked as if he was towing a trailer. It just, as I said, like Ross said, treacle. But I see the exact same thing happening with Jack that happened with Kamara when Gio took over. Exact same thing.
So I see Gaz in the comments. If Gaz wants to put 20 quid to the Rangers Youth charity, I'll come back on at the end of the season, and who scores the most goals at Morelos and Colak, one is will give 20 quid to the Rangers charity if you want that bet, mate. That's how confident I am in it. And the club will charity will make a bit of dough at it, because I'm telling you right now, mate, you'll be 20 quid later.
Super chat, and I think I'm getting some feedback, and I think it might be me, so I apologise if anybody's hearing feedback. I'm reliably informed it's actually D.I. Rebus, not Dyer Bus. So my apologies. Super chatting from D.I. Rebus as well. Thank you very much. Morelos should go. He showed he won't put in the effort for the fans. Is that slightly overreacting, Graham? Because Morelos is a quality player, but there was a wee bit in my head that went, Colak's been chosen in front of him since he came back. There's a bit of needle there for him towards maybe, I don't know, the manager or the coaches or whatever, and he's come on and we're just seeing the old Morelos again.
I will try and stick up for him a wee bit, but he's coming back for a serious injury and he isn't fit, and that's why we need to get minutes in the day. Like Ross was saying, it was a gamble, but we had to do it. But it's just, there's so much uncertainty on the contract, his fitness. Then that's coming back in the day, his niggles and fighting back and kicking out and stuff like that. So I don't know if he's going to rise to the challenge, to be honest, mate. He should. And then also when Roof comes back, there's going to be three of them. So we need the alpha this season. We won the league. That's the alpha we need. And I don't see it coming back anytime soon.
You can't, and Ross, I know you need to go shortly.
Aye.
You need to go now?
No, I can have another one wee bit if
It's just very, very, very quickly. You can be, not match fit. You can be not even ready to come on. You can play poor, blah, blah, blah. Being not match fit, not being fit, doesn't make you kick out at people.
See if he's not match fit, what's the script with the B team? Can we not go and play a couple of games for the B team? Can we not organise inter-squad games where we get him match fit? Because what we've done is threw him into a cauldron where he's made an arse of before.
Mm-hmm.
He's no fit. He's he's come into a game that's end-to-end, top tempo. And what's happened? The inevitable's happened. He's cost us again. It happens time and time again. Hibs have got his number. Porteous has got his number. And when I seen him coming on it with half an hour left, I thought to myself, this is going to go one or two ways, man. Because he's no fit and he's no up to tempo, and he's coming into a game that's gone end to end, tackles crashing in all over the place, and you're already down to you were down to 10 men when he came on, and then there was a time in the middle of the park where he was all over the top of Colin, wouldn't he move back right in his face, and you just know. But I'm going to need to go because I've got a way to pick up for dancing, boys. All right, good speaking with you.
Yeah, the frustration's real, Mark. That's two big points dropped, and before we come, we'll go back. We won't go through the full game, obviously, but we'll talk about the first half, second half, etc. Blah blah blah. They're playing Hearts. Is it tomorrow or the day? I don't even know.
It's
Tomorrow. We were, 5-6 minutes away from a great result with 9 men to put pressure on them to play a decent Hearts team. We've just took all the pressure off of them tomorrow.
Yeah, I think, would you look at the game?
I know it's early in the season. I need to caveat that, Mark, by saying it's early in the season, but you build pressure wherever you can. Yeah,
I think the bigger picture is we just weren't good enough today. Mm-hmm. I mean, I said before we come on, it's got a wee bit of a shades of last season, and we can use this European hangover as an excuse. But for me, we've got a big enough squad. These players are used to it. All right, there's a few that have that have come in and no done that in their career before this Tuesday, Saturday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, but most of them have. The majority of them have. So this isn't an excuse. You need to take that away. That can't be the case. We should be playing a lot better. We should be beating teams like Hibs. I don't care. Obviously, people like blue tinted glasses and all that. We've no right to beat anybody, which is correct. But we need to be playing better. It's as simple as that. We would just bottom line was we weren't good enough today. All right, circumstances have progressed and we've had players sent off and stuff like that. But we can't use that as an excuse. They should have been. We should have put them in a solid priority of this happening. We really should. So we need to get our socks up and obviously put pressure. But see, every game this season, we need to win every single game this season, like we do every other season, I suppose. But this more than ever, because our bread and butter is this league. We need to win this league back this year. Simple.
J-Mac, who cares about them? There is 30 other games to play. Nobody cares about them who is a Rangers supporter, right? But if you're kidding yourself that we don't have to look at what they're doing, because we do. It's not a case of, you just completely ignore them, blah, blah, blah. Because you completely ignore them, we don't win the league. Then everybody's on here screaming, how have we not beat the league? How have we not won the league? They're shite, blah, 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 blah. You've got to pay attention to what your rivals are doing, especially when you're going to try and win a league. We need to get out of this mentality of, oh no, we don't care about them, we're Rangers. No, we have to watch and pay attention to what they're doing. Otherwise, how do you know what the hell's going on? No, I'm sorry. Rant over. Scott Rennie, welcome to the Rabble community. Hello, thank you. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night. I've got a funny feeling that the game today might be discussed again tomorrow night. First half, Graham, we didn't offer much. We didn't offer Colak any service. And Not fortunate, because for me it is a penalty, but we're fortunate we got the penalty in a way that we didn't really look like scoring.
I totally agree, mate. When we get back to like the preview we done before the game, we were saying what we wanted to see from the beginning, and we never saw any of that, mate. It was like Livingston the first half again. It was that bad. Players they weren't concentrating. First touch was poor, passing was poor, decision making was poor. The players were poor. The only one I thought he got pass marks today was James Sands, to be fair to him. I'm really actually beginning to like him as a player. He's every kind of ball he gets in his feet, he's trying to put it into the middle or put it out wide quickly. He often kind of bypasses Goldson, which I like. It kind of speeds the play up. But what we wanted in that game, really, we never got at all. And like you say, we got the penalty, which actually gave us the kick up the backside, going into the half time. Gio gave them what they need to hear and come out buzzing to go and win the second half. But we didn't deserve anything, mate. And that's what makes me don't like talking about the referee. But it's one of the days we've lost points, need to get kicked up the arse and we go again. But
it's just that we've lost points, we've dropped points, Mark, and I mean this with all the disrespect that it sounds. We've dropped points, albeit with 9 men. It's an extremely poor team.
Yeah, they're bad. They're bad.
Yeah, and we've dropped points to them. So what does that say about us?
Just like I said, there's no really any excuses. We need to be better. Simple as that. Bottom line, we need to be better. We need to be putting teams like this to the sword. We need to be beating them. Simple. It's no. And do you know what? I know it's only 2 points dropped and stuff like that, but this is how tight we could be looking back at the end of the season and saying that this might have cost us. So, and that's maybe how tight it's going to be this season. I've got a funny feeling it's going to be right to the wire. So, it's just, you don't want to start picking players that's early in the season or trying to psychoanalyse what's all happening behind scenes and all that. I just think, for me, you need to play your best team week in, week out, and I think we don't know what our best team is. Simple as that at the moment. I think we're getting close to it, but I think that we don't really know what our best team or our best 11 is, and the sooner we get that sorted, I think it's going to help us in the long run moving forward.
Well, Mark, coming straight back to you, Jim Sloan channel member, thought Kent was poor again. First half, he done some nice stuff, Mark. He was skinning players. He looked confident, but he was just taking that extra touch.
Yeah, and to be fair, that's been the kind of story of his season. This season so far,
it's been the story of his Rangers career.
Well, yeah, but one touch too many. For me, I don't know what if he wants to come inside. I think that when you play Colak, he needs to get to the byline. Look at the chaos. Second half, the first time anybody's got to the byline, we score a goal. So if you're playing Colak, who's a penalty box striker, you need your wingers to get to the byline. So if they get to the byline, it'll cause havoc, and that's exactly what it did. I nearly said Tavernier there. Barisic overlapped on the left-hand side, got to the byline, great ball in. Colak made that goal for Lawrence, the first one. So I said, that's what we need to be doing. We can't keep having Kent cutting inside, because everybody knows exactly what he's going to do. He's going to do 2 step overs and he's going to move inside. All right, he's got 2 players on him, sometimes 3 players on him. But you've got to mix it up. And if Gio's not telling him, I don't know why. If his teammates aren't telling him, I don't know why either. You've got to mix it up. And the problem is that he's making himself look a worse player than he is by no mixing it up. Because everybody knows exactly what he's going to do. So all he does is, we'll get a man on him and see the other 2. They'll just sit to the left of the player that's facing him up. Because they know that he's just going to turn inside and go towards another 2 players. So Colak, down the wings, get the ball, byline, get the ball in. You'll get deflections. Colak will score you a barrel load if you're doing that. And the likes of Lawrence is shown he's willing to run into the box as well. So for me, that's how we need to play when Colak's playing, and Kent's just not doing it for me. So I don't know. They say, is he undroppable? Me personally, I would drop him. I thought Matondo played better on the left. I think Lawrence played better on the left as well. since the start of the season. So either he bulks up his ideas or he gets dropped. Simple as that for me.
Right, a few comments coming in. Lisa Morley, cheer up, lads. They will lose points as well. That's my missus, by the way. I don't know what she's doing commenting. Graham, it's not about them dropping points right now as we sit here, because it's a reaction to a game where we've just dropped points. And what it also does is it puts, if they go on and win tomorrow, right, which I think everybody expects them to do because there's no pressure on them now. But if they go on and win tomorrow, we're going to an Old Firm game, but we really can't afford to lose.
I never really thought about it until you said that there. That makes it even worse. It's just we just need to get some sort of forum for somewhere. It's when you watch us play in Europe and then watch us play in the league, we just struggle against teams that sit back. I know it's harder, but sometimes it's hard to actually get your head round how we can perform against big teams and then struggle against these teams. But that's just a disappointing day, mate, to be honest.
You're raging, Graham, aren't you? Davies saying, look, we need to drop Goldson. His form is poor, but he knows he's undroppable. Get him on the bench for a few games once we have fit options. 2 points to that mark. Number one, is Davy correct? And number two, when are we going to have fit options?
He actually read my mind as soon as you said that. I think, Goldson's not been great the last couple of games, and he's another one, the same as Ken, undroppable. So I would drop him, but the problem is you've not got any centre halves. It's as simple as that. We have not got any centre halves. We were meant to last season with this problem. We've still got the same problem, and we've had a transfer window. I can't. It blows my mind the fact that we're now still struggling for a left-sided centre half, that we're putting centre mids into centre half position. We've had a transfer window, and we've still got the exact same problem, exact same issue as we had at the end of last season. Exact same. Mental.
Has Sands, Graham, in the last two games looked more composed at centre half than Connor Goldson?
I think in the last few games he has, yes. But for me, Goldson will always play. It's one being he's always fit and ready to go. So that's just when that alone he keeps the position. But for me, like I said just earlier, Sands for me has been our best player, and he's so far this season. He brings composure. He tries to speed up the play. He tries to get balls through the middle. He always looks forward. And for people who say he's not a defender, I know that, but he wins his fair share of headers. He doesn't lose too many as well. So for me, Sands has shown a lot of them up at the moment. I was sorry, Graham. I was just asking Ross there. Has Sands looked more composed in the last two games at centre back than Connor Goldson?
Aye. Yep. For me, the decision is once you get one of your left-sided centre halves back, does Goalson keep his place or does Sands? We talk about Goalson's another one we talk about. He's the undroppable force. Suter is in as backup to Goldson. Well, see when Suter comes back, why can he not be our first choice centre half on the right hand side of a four? As a right hand side of a central two? Because he'll go and put his head in where it gets hurt. Goalson, we spoke about it last night. Goalson's not the dominating centre half that we need when we're playing against teams who want to put balls over the top. Goalson's terrified of Martin Boyle. Goalson is terrified of Martin Boyle. We knew it last night. We spoke about it. I don't think with the signing of John Suter, with the performances of Sands, with the performances that we know Hollander can put in when he's fit, don't get me wrong, he's never fit, I know, but this season I don't see why it's Goldson and AN other.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a case of putting Katic in the day?
I mean, I don't know. See, for me, see when you've got a midfielder filling in at centre half, is it no easier to put the natural centre half into the left side of that and give the midfielder the option of using his right foot?
100%.
Sorry, there have been noises entering out in the living room. Is there no a case to move Goldson across to the left and say to him, just you go and win everything and let Sands play on the right and let him be the ball playing defender, rather than shoehorning a midfielder into the wrong side of defence and giving him a double advantage?
I think there definitely, Mark, has to come a time where we seriously discuss Goldson, because it seems as if more and more now we're pointing out his mistakes, his vulnerabilities. I know it's always something that's been spoke about kind of on and off, but he has always in the past, he's been our main man at the back, he's been our top defender, but more and more questions are going to start getting asked.
He's been consistent, but he's still got a wee clanger in him. His last couple of games, he's no covered himself in glory as far as I'm concerned. I thought against PSV, Sands was our best centre half by 100 mile. I don't know. As I said, Goalson's one of these ones. He's a good player, but I think he struggles when he's worrying about who's beside him. I think when him and Hollander played together, he knew exactly what Hollander was going to do and when he was going to do it. And I think that he can get distracted dead easy by whoever he's playing against, trying to watch them instead of concentrating on what he's meant to be doing, clearing his lines, and do you know what I mean, and marking his man. So for me, nobody's undroppable. I don't really care. And sometimes the likes of your Goldsons and your Kents, maybe a couple of games in a bench where you're going to kick up the arse that they need to. Hold on a minute, you need to work hard, the same as the rest of the boys, to get into this squad. For me, that's I'm old school. That's the biggest thing for me. You need to earn your place in the squad. No, just all right, you're Goldson, so we'll just put you in there, or you're Brian Kent, so we'll just put you in there. For me, you need to earn it.
And that's what I've been trying to say about the Colak Morelos.
100%.
See, if Colak's in position and he's scoring goals and he's working for the team, it's his jersey to lose. It's not just, but Morelos scored against Porto, or Morelos done this, or Morelos done that. See if you're playing against Celtic at Parkhead in a couple of weeks' time. See if there's a chance in the middle of the box. Who do you want on the end of it, Morelos or Colak?
Yeah, Colak every day of the week. As I said, Colak for me, all right, he maybe no get 5 or 6 chances a game, but see that one chance that he gets, he'll put it away. 100%.
The only thing I've got against Colak is, see when we're on top, he's good at getting the ball at his feet, but see when there's a defender right up against him, that's the only criticism I've got. But obviously he should be playing, no denying that, but he just needs to work on his kind of strength when he's got a defender right up behind him, because he seems to kind of fall over quite a bit. So
I don't think he's that kind of player, but Graham, I think he's just a goal scorer.
He's going to need to adapt to that in our game, though. That's what I'm saying. It's only
Can I just interject very, very quickly? Firstly, thank you to everybody watching. Please do like and subscribe. A like really does help. Share the pod and it helps us grow. And we're getting so close to 6,000 subscribers. I think we're about 180 away, something like that. So please do subscribe. And secondly, I don't know if this is going to backfire, but people have been asking for it. So the phone lines are now open.
Oh dear.
01416287237. If your number is withheld, it will not be answered. If you come on and you are not polite, your call will be hung up. So we do have a call in straight away. Curry Muncher.
I won't ask you how you are, because I think we all know.
Mm-hmm. How are you?
I'm raging. I'm absolutely raging. Everything I said the other night there, in fact, for the last couple of weeks now, it's came to pass. And what Ross was saying earlier on, and Mark was saying, and Graham, even you, Martin, was saying, all the players that we've been discussing on their performances, it's came to fruition, really. Kent, garbage again. He lost the ball that caused the goal. He lost the ball that caused Lundstram to get sent off, although it's still, to me, it's still his fault. He didn't know Lundstram was going to do it, but that would never have happened if he lost the ball. Goldson, again, moving out the way of the ball. That's twice in 2 games he's done that, but is he scared that the ball hits him or something? That's the second time he's done that, moved out the way when the ball was gone. I'm going to one but thing I did get wrong. McLaughlin was garbage today. He was absolutely garbage. His distribution was shocking. I mean, see, we all talk about how good he is with his feet. No, the day, wasn't he? He was terrible. And as for Alfie, he's just turned into some of the Alfie we had 4 or 5 years ago. Just a stupid, petulant wee boy. We were down to 10 men. There was no need for that. Absolutely no need for it. And if he can't learn for the amount of time he's been at Rangers, especially when he was given a chance by Gio to come in the day, improve and get into a position where he can get picked, he's done nothing. Ken and Alfie, either sign your contract or, pardon my French, you know I don't do this, sign the contract or just fuck off out of Rangers. I'm not interested anymore.
Right, well, can I take it back to your John McLaughlin, excuse me. Ross, a couple of times he kicked the ball out the park, yes, I agree. But I don't think... 5 times, okay, he kicked the ball out the park 5 times. Ross, I don't think he was terrible today.
He's made a couple of great saves. There was one at his near post. He's saved with his leg and managed to get run on it. He's punched one that could have, he was unsighted. He's punched straight back out rather than try to catch it and maybe spilling it. Mate, I've said this to you for the start. John McLaughlin, we're on here moaning about John McLaughlin being terrible because he kicked the ball at the park 3 times in a row when we were down to 9 men and had nobody up front, and all he's really doing is clearing it for distance. Would you want him to do? Play out the back when we've got 9 and they've got 11? And then the question on top of that is, see, 2 seconds, Curry, 2 seconds, mate, let's finish talking. So my point to that is, who are you going to bring in? Because see, when we've got 11 men on the park, Alan McGregor kicks the ball at the fucking park for the last 5 years. So we're criticising McLaughlin for doing something.
Sorry, Curry, say that again.
You see, we can't just ignore the fact that he was garbage with the ball today. I didn't see that he was bad saves or anything like that. His ball distribution was garbage today.
Who's he meant to hit, Curry? Who's he meant to? Who's he kicking the ball to, Curry? That's my point. We were playing with Davis, Jack, and Arfield, and the 3 of them were sitting 25 yards out for his goal line because we're under siege, mate. So I don't understand who you're trying to, who he's meant to be kicking the ball to. Of course, he's kicking it into touch to try and waste time.
And the bloody party, did he kick you out?
I take that point. I take the point that when he's kicking it out to play, right, which is just, straight back in. But I don't think there's much difference really if I'm kicking it out to play to him just lumping it up to their goalkeeper because it's just
Martin, see if he kicks it out of play, they've got to regroup and get a shy. See if he just kicks it up the park, David Marshall walks to the halfway line and sends a long ball right in into a pair of defence, mate. So he's playing, what else is he meant to do? He's playing the safer option, kicking it up. They've then got to go and retrieve the ball and they can only throw it, and it gives us time to get a wee bit of breathing time in there. See if he kicks it right up the park, right up the middle of the park, David Marshall walks on it and David Marshall launches one right back into our box. Curry, I know what you're saying, but you're miles off it, miles.
You've got hundreds of balls. It only takes them seconds now to get a throw in. That doesn't work anymore. That may be work at maybe first and second division, but none of the bloody top flight. A ball in the back, the players hold within seconds.
Can I ask?
But the thing is, I never came on here to have a go just at John.
I know.
It was just his distribution. It was the other players. Mm-hmm. The ones that, as you said, Ross, are all they're undroppable. 3 year regulars that have been in our team for many a season now. And they should know what it is to play for Rangers, and they were all, especially in this match, they were absolutely garbage.
I know. Do you know what the most frustrating thing is? And I'll take it to you, Mark. I agree with Curry with the rest of the players, right? And I thought Matondo today was really poor. Ryan Kent, and I'll bring it back to Kent. There was a couple of times in that first half he done some really good stuff, and he probably should have scored when he basically took 3 players out of the game, get into the box, and then took an extra touch. We could be sitting here having a completely different conversation about Ryan Kent if he just doesn't take that final touch, Mark.
But this is the reason why Ryan Kent's at us and not Liverpool, Man United. Do you know what I mean? If he had an end product, it would be worth 30 million. Do you know what I mean? So that's why. That's lack of end product. Same Scott Wright, lack of end product. You can be a good player. You can have all the step overs in the world and run past players and be fast and all that. But the good players have end product. Don't get me wrong, he's a good player. I'm talking about the elite players, the top level players have got end product, and he's not got an end product. Simple. I mean, 3 goals last season, not good enough. All right, 24 goal contributions, which is a decent number, right? But for me, he's got to be scoring more goals. He's got to have an end product. He's got to be, as I said, back to the original comment there. McLaughlin was the least of our problems today. Absolutely the least of our problems today. And as I said, there's a few players need to have a look at themselves in the mirror. Really, it's all good being there for the big European games and stuff like that when the crowd's bouncing and it's an amazing experience and stuff like that. This is our bread and butter. See if they don't do what they're meant to be doing week in, week out in the SPFL, they'll not be playing in big European stages. Simple as that.
Can I just ask, Curry, and it's something that we've not mentioned at all yet. Does Gio take any blame for the day, or does Gio get off the hook because of Morelos?
No, he definitely gets some of the blame for this. His substitutions for this is going to be a hard one because we were all, I think we've all said it in the previous pods, that Morelos should be getting time to get himself fit and get things sorted out. He did that, so he probably did what we wanted. Was it right? No. But it's hindsight, innit? If Alfie came on and nothing had happened, fair enough, nobody would be complaining. But it's just, I don't know, I can't see how he can risk putting that on. As Ross said, I can't believe that he risked putting Morelos on. And we were only 2-1. Then we're down to 10 men. And then this happens. Then he gets sent off because stupidness. Mm-hmm. And then Colm cost us the day. But Morelos was the one that gave him that decision.
Aye.
Some people say it was a yellow. Ross thinks it's a red. I think it's orange. Let's go orange.
Let's go orange.
It could go either way. He used his arm. He never used any force. Yellow. He did it twice, and then I never seen the kick, so I'll just take Ross's word for it. He kicked him as well. If he kicked him, no, it's a red. Petulance. He's going to get a red cap for that. John Lundstram took the man out. Yellow card all day. That's all it was. Their penalty. Pulls the guy back. Penalty, definitely. Red card. He made no attempt for the ball. If you don't make an attempt for the ball, then a penalty, it's a red card. Obviously, what we call him needs to go back to. I'm trying not to swear here. Needs to go back to the training academy because he's not got a bloody clue. Yeah. Because he doesn't know the rules of football, obviously.
Yeah, I think the problem with Willie Collum is he just loves to be the centre of attention. Curry, mate, thank you very much.
Hey, bother, guys. Sorry for being so negative.
No. Listen, it's a day probably being negative. And we'll speak to you soon, Curry.
Hey, bother. I still love the Rangers. Get in there.
I know that's something that we haven't really mentioned, Graham. Does any fault of this lie at Gio? And look, it's a 2-2 draw in the league. There's plenty of time. We make it back up. It isn't the end of the world. We're down to 9 men. But we can only react to what we've seen today. So does Gio take any blame?
It needs to. It's a team game, and he's part of the team, so he needs to take some of the blame. I said it quite a bit when he came in. Some of his style of play reminds me of like the kind of Van Gaal Dutch style, where it's kind of too structured. Whereas in that, I thought we were kind of getting away from that towards the end of last season, when we kind of seen a wee bit more free flowing. But today in the Livingston game for me was similar, and it's like players are kind of having to be in their position. And like, today I mentioned that Jack had to come off and we missed Davis so much, and what we got to do when there's no Davis? Because honest, see if he was on for that beginning. Tav plays better when Davis is inside, and just we work better when Davis is there as a team. And It's just but you can't play him every single game, can you? So but Gio definitely needs to be more adventurous and try. I would like to see more different styles of set of playing. Maybe no rely so much on the wing backs, because I think teams know how to play against us sometimes now.
Well, we've obviously not touched on Borner's assist in that, and I'm sure we will. But we have Carol on the phone. Carol, how are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
Try to stay positive. I'm positive Kent is the most predictable player in Scotland. And I just can't fathom how every podcast, Kent's great once. Nothing else. He runs back and does a lot of covering, I must admit, but oh dear. I know where he's shooting as soon as it shoots. You don't even need to look when he's taking a shot. You know he's going over the bar to the goalie's left on. Doesn't matter. It's every time. I look back in all the games. All the time. I don't see how he's undroppable. And the other one, I must say, I don't think he had a great game, was Lundstram. He lost a lot of control of the ball. A lot of short passes and off the Rangers today, which I thought was disgusting. And he gets sent off because of a bad ball to Ryan Kent, by the way. They had to try and cover. And it was a red card, definite red card.
For Lundstram?
He's taking the guy out. There was no attempt to the ball. It was just a red card.
For Lundstram, you mean? You think Lundstram? Well, the Hibs player done exactly the same in the first half.
But I'm not a referee. I'm not in the park. It's a red card to me. It doesn't matter who does it. It's a red card. You know what I mean?
I think Ross, I think that's Lundstram red card.
No, it's absolutely not a red card. But I'm taking it. Carroll's never played football in his life. I'm not meaning in a cheeky way. What I'm meaning is, if you make that tackle 1,000 times, you'll get sent off once, and if you make it 10,000 times, you'll get sent off once. He's been sent. Undoubtedly, he's been sent off for it. But by the rules of the game, it wasn't a malicious tackle. It wasn't a lunge. It wasn't a dangerous tackle. He's flicked his leg out, caught his trailing leg, and he slid in to make. It's a professional. What they would term.
It's not up to the referee to interpret that.
No.
It's all but see when the referee's already made an interpretation of Doyle Hayes.
In his pocket.
Aye, but what we're saying is the refs made a very, very bad mistake. The Morelos one, obviously, that's a completely different conversation. But you'll see that foul a million times, and that's the first time I've ever seen a red card, Carol, for that foul.
No, I've seen it in Europe. I've played in Europe.
The only time I've seen a red card in the situations if it's like get down the person's heel, if you know what I mean.
I came in for his side. It wasn't even a tackle from behind. They came in for the side of him.
No, it was for the back. It was for the back.
He's hit the side of his shin, Carol. I'm
not one to argue with you. The other thing, Morelos. That's just what Morelos is, isn't it? We're back to that.
Well, back to
the team Morelos because he's struggling to get his place. You know.
That was the point I made, by the way, Mark. That is that just
I heard you.
Is that the petulance, Mark, for not being first choice?
Aye, you've hit the nail right in the head there. I'm meant to be the main man. I'm a wee bit huffy. I'm a wee bit moody. I'm just not happy, and I'm going to try and kick people and slap people. So, for me, that's lack of professionalism. He's let himself down. He's let his teammates down. He's let his manager down. Simple as that.
What was your thoughts on the overall performance today, Carol, before all the shenanigans with red cards and stuff?
Overall performance, pretty poor. Actually, I thought a lot of bad passes. The boy Sands had a great game again. Barisic wasn't too bad. Apart from that, Matondo should check their studs before they go. You would think they hadn't played football before.
Yep.
Matondo, Graham, the day, but listen, everybody's allowed poor games. Of course they are, Graham, but Matondo.
Aye, of course.
Matondo was poor today, Graham.
He was. Well, I want to say something about commentators in games.
All right, okay.
something I heard. Oh, wasn't it? Was that stupid podcast? Because my missus is in hospital and listening to all the rubbish in the YouTube.
I hope you're not bundling the Rabo in with that.
No, that PLZ, I think it is.
All right.
Aye.
When you hear anywhere else in the park, that would have been a free kick. Why isn't it a penalty? They only give it as a penalty. I mean, Jesus Christ Almighty! I thought the penalty area was still on the park.
Were they talking about the Rangers penalty?
I think it was a Hearts game.
Oh, was that a Hearts game?
I don't know, I can't remember. I don't really listen to him. We've pottering about, doing my dusting with my peenie on.
Well, I must admit, I've never ever once watched that. In fact, no, I lie. I've watched that PLZ once for about 5 minutes. Alan Ruff started talking and I just switched it off.
The other one, McManus. Oh, Jesus Christ Almighty. Yeah. That would make a saint swear. Right, well, lads, I've got to phone the hospital and see if she's getting out. I didn't want to play phone before the game in case I had to go and pick her up.
Hope the good lady's well, Carol. Oh well. Can I come in on the Kent and the end product thing?
Yes.
Obviously, I don't watch Celtic games, right? But I'm on Twitter, and twice this season already, their £6 million signing has stuck to right in the tap bin, and we're talking about Jota again. That's where the comparisons are going to come in now.
Of course they are.
They've got a talisman in Jota who is assisting goals and scoring, and Ours isn't. And that's something that's going to, as the season goes on, if he can keep up his form for them and Kent is still not coming up with numbers for us, that's who he's going to be compared against now. It's happening already. You seen it last week all over Twitter. Oh, yeah, Jota equalled Kent's goals for last season already, and we're only 3 or 4 games in. And that's a comparison that's going to keep being made. Somebody else said as well last night about we never make a signing who hits the ground running. Now Celtic last year went to a league that Postecoglou knew. They brought in what's his face up front, Kyogo. They brought in Hatate. They also brought in Abada and they brought in Jota, and they're getting goals for everywhere across our front line. And that's the difference as well. See if a ball goes, it flashes across the goal, they don't need Kyogo to be in there because Abada's coming in at the back post scoring goals and Jota's coming in at the other side. We don't have that. We can't either. He's never at the back post waiting for a tap in either. He's always inside the park or run about the box. He's never in that. He's not got that instinct to be where the ball's going to drop just to pass one in. And I think as well, that's something that that's a sword that Gio's going to fall on as well, because there's not enough goals in the team. There's not enough goals in the team.
I think that comes into Gio's kind of tactic as well. The structured thing. But I think, I know because of Louis van Gaal, he likes his players to be in certain positions when the ball's in certain thing, and it's kind of known as a Dutch style, other than the Cruyff. And I see similarities to that. It's like players are freely moving about and doing their own thing, except when we're in attacking positions. It's kind of structured, and I don't like that, to be honest. I think
sorry again, that's 4 times I've cut you off, Graham. I do apologise.
Sorry.
We have John on the line. John, how you doing?
Hi. Yeah, I think that was maybe more skill and move for Sakala to win the day, given that Morelos hasn't really a bit of start as a bag of sand just now. And the way difficult game it was at that stage.
Sakala, Mark.
It did say a wee bit of chaos.
Unfortunately, Mark, I'll take it to you. Gio just does not fancy Sakala, does he?
Doesn't fancy him at all. No, simple as that. I think that his days are numbered. I think that if we can, if Roof was fit, I think he'd be away. Simple. I just don't think he's not technically good enough for a Dutchman. Simple as that. And all the Dutch players they play as they grow up, they play every single position and rotate them, don't they, as they're learning and as they're growing. So I think he's just technically not good enough for him, and his days are numbered. I think he'll be off shortly.
Well, see, the thing is, Ross, it's actually a fair point that maybe last season if Alfie wasn't fit or whatever, that would have probably been a game that Sakala would have either started or came on as a sub, and he might have been a decent option today. But hindsight's 2020, as they say.
Well, I get exactly what Mark's saying about Sakala no being the most technically gifted football player, but Matondo doesn't look like that. He's pacey. That's what he's going to give you. He's going to give you pace. Sakala gives you pace. We're bringing on Scott Wright in European games, who's got an AM product, headless chicken, runs. At least Sakala gives you something. Scott Wright's no a terrifically technically gifted football player. Do you know what I mean? So I think the Sakala one's strange, because out of our full team you would say probably the most technically gifted player's Kamara, and he also seems to be right out down the pecking order at the moment as well. So I just don't know. I get what Mark's saying, and I think he's right. Like the Dutch football, and what Graham's saying as well, Dutch football is played in where you can take it in tight areas, as we said earlier, make angles for people, tiki-taka, play the ball about, back and forward, and score good goals. But we seem to be playing a hybrid of that, but we've not quite got the players to play it, so we're trying to play it in a different style, which involves, how many times a day have we got the ball in the final third and it ends up back with Goldson or Sands? We run out of ideas.
I've said for a while that we're a counter-attacking team, whether we like it or not. There's no coincidence that we play our best football in Europe, and that's because teams come out and we can get in behind them with long balls or kind of quick 1-2s through the park and get up. We're a counter-attacking team, and for me, I've seen a lot of Matondo when he played with Schalke, because I watched quite a lot of the German football, and that performance today is what I said when we signed him. That's what I've seen. So that worries me big time. I'd have Sakala before him.
But obviously, John, Gio doesn't know that Morelos is going to come on the park and do that.
Oh no, well, I get that. But I thought at the time that this was quite a difficult game for the guy who's nowhere near sharp at all right now. You know, given the situation we were in, I just think Sakala can disrupt teams a bit, and he's always likely to put one in the net. Yeah.
His goal scoring record's phenomenal. Sakala. Yeah, great goal scoring record.
So does Gio take the hit for that then, John?
Yeah, possibly. I think at the time you're a man down. I don't want to put on Sakala, who's probably in better than Morelos right now. See what you can do. Just sometimes I just thrown somebody on anyway, innit? So,
see today, I think personally, Van Bronckhorst has played to the fact that he was being challenged through the week on Morelos not getting any minutes. There was absolutely no need to give him 30 minutes today, especially in a game of that magnitude that was being played at that pace. When, listen, he can post on Instagram all he wants, pictures where he looks skinny as anything, man, but he must have his missus' fat pants on, because he's not as fit as he looks, I'm telling you. He looks today, he's no sharp, he's no interested. We're bringing him in, and I say he's no interested because if he was interested, he would be fighting for his jersey. He would be up for the battle to get that back in, and he would be gone the day, ragdolling players and getting himself in positions to score, rather than what he did there.
Say that again, John.
I think it's a bit of way to be the number one striker if he's wanting to get ahead of Colak.
Right now, and even before the day, Colak was my number one.
I definitely.
But Mark, he's now made it. He's definitely now made up Gio's mind for him.
Yeah, I was got a question for you all. After today, can we sell Morelos? Is anybody going to buy him after that?
Off of no side in the contract.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, if, as it stands at the minute, anybody that watched that debate, any sort of a suitors, any team that were looking at Morelos and thinking, maybe take a punt on him. He's come on a park, he's done nothing, he's overweight, he was unfit, and he's petulant, and he's done that. Who's going to buy him?
When you're saying that as well, the only way we can sell him is if we've got somebody we can bring in, because with Roof, we can't rely on Roof.
I think we might be jumping too far ahead.
I think that's going to be big too.
You know, I don't think we need to get rid of him. For me, he's still a quality player, John.
Yeah, but the point, we're at the point now where if it isn't saying a contract, you short him.
That's in his style again, you know.
Say that again, John. Sorry.
I was just wondering maybe he was going to fall into his old habits slightly again. I maybe just not quite got up to, because when Morelos falls off his game, they can be right off his game.
Yeah, that is probably the big worry, and that'll be a challenge now that when he comes back, he has to prove to everybody that it was a one-off. But yeah, it's worrying. John, mate, thank you for the call.
Okay, thanks.
Cheers.
Okay, bye.
The best.
Charles Allen, thank you, welcome. The members are flowing in today, so if it's something that you fancy doing, please do click that join button below, or the link is in the description in case the join button does not appear. Loads of people watching, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're closing in on 6,000 subscribers, and if we can get this up, see, because we've got over 650 people watching, if we can get this up to 300 likes, then that would be really good, and that would really help the channel. Ross, we come out second half, and the person that we spoke about last night on the phone in, 5 minutes in, Tav gets caught out. I don't know what the two at the back are doing, and Boyle nips in and scores.
Aye. We don't stop at any crosses. The amount of crosses that come into our box are unbelievable. I'm trying to even think how the ball got played in back. My mind's went blank. But the boy was offside. Matondo came in and he could have took the ball away and let it bounce, and the guy cut in. Guy looked offside to me, depending on, maybe I'm looking at it through blue or orange tinted glasses, but it looked as if his shoulder was ahead of the play. They tell us that these things even themselves out over a season, so that's two we're due, because obviously Colak against Livingston was a very similar one that went against us. I think right away in the second half there's a question to be asked again about the man in the middle, with the Colak went up and the big boys came clattered right through the back of him already on a booking.
Mm-hmm.
If he's not booked, that's a yellow card all day long. So again, you're talking about refereeing inconsistencies, but that's the difference between them going down to 10 men and us being 1-0 up and cruising, and 3 minutes later the ball's in the back of the net and we're back to one each, and then the game changes totally. Their fans go behind them, and they
get the confidence for that as well. We do have another caller on the phone, caller ending 182. Hello, welcome to the Rabble.
How you doing, Rabble? My name's Craig.
How you doing, Craig?
Aye, well, not too good. I just want to know what your opinion on Matondo is. I think he's too lightweight for our game. He was worse than a man doing the whole game today, and how Van Bronckhorst couldn't see that. I mean, Hibs manager changed things after 20 minutes, but Matondo, Arcade.
Graham, you've already kind of mentioned Matondo. You've seen him playing for Schalke. What do you think? Too lightweight for a Scottish game?
I think a lot of people never gave Diallo a chance last season, so I think it's going to be similar. But as I said earlier, some of his performances for Schalke were like that, and so that's why I was never too excited when we signed him, if I'm being honest. And then I was quite surprised when I heard some good performances. I missed the games, to be honest, but so I was looking forward to hoping maybe we're going to see a good player. But also he's still young, he can improve. We also need to support him, but he needs to play better than that, definitely.
Can we know, Craig, though, game time to settle and maybe just accept that, all right, he's had a poor game today, but, he's going to get better?
Well, I mean, I don't know if we can, because, we've got to keep up with that mob on the other side of the city. That's always the trouble, that players don't get a chance a lot of times at Rangers, just because of the very nature of the competition. But for what I've seen, he just doesn't seem as if he's quick. I mean, he didn't do anything today, and he was just so lightweight. He wasn't putting any tackles in. I don't know how many times he touched the ball, but it couldn't have been more than half a dozen. I mean, he contributed absolutely nothing, and the manager surely saw that as well. He should have, from what my opinion, he should have taken him off. He should have brought Tillman on and put Lawrence out wide, and that would have given us a lot more.
Ross?
See, we've got a problem here. The problem being we've got two guys that we've bought in the middle of the park in Tillman and Lawrence. And what's going to happen is one of them's going to end up getting the Thomas Buffel treatment and papped out wide right. And all that's going to happen then is the fans are going to get on their back because they're playing out of position. Because I'm looking at the team for Wednesday night and I don't see any way we shape up, which doesn't include one of them playing in the 8 or the 10, as you would call it, in behind Colak, and one of them playing out wide right. None of the two of them are wingers or inverted wingers. The two of them want to play centrally. And as I said last night on the podcast, the day was a perfect time to play the two of them and just have Lundstram sitting. Because again, Jack's just ghosting about. Jack doesn't know where he's meant to be because he's not used to being in that attacking part of the midfield. So why are we trying to shoehorn Jack into there when we've got somebody sitting on the bench who can do the job? Nicole must have knew I was running low there. She just gave us a Red Bull in. She's like, mate, petrol for the rant machine.
Your overall thoughts on the performance overall today, Craig? Obviously, and I've asked everybody right before the shenanigans of the red cards and stuff. I think everybody's in agreement though that the performance overall for everybody, apart from maybe Sands who got past marks, just wasn't good enough.
Absolutely. I don't know, when you talk about this European hangover, I don't buy that. All these guys are used to playing, a European game and then come back and playing an SPL game. The only ones that I would have given pass marks to today would have been Sands, who I think has been excellent the last few games, and I just don't get the criticism. The Kinabu boys seem to have taken a dislike to him, but I don't get it. I think he was excellent against PSV, enabled us to play out a lot of the times because he's composed in the ball at the back. And again, Lundstram, I just think Big Lundstram is just the best on earth, and there's no way that he should ever have been sent off today. That was a disgraceful decision.
Yeah, it was an absolutely shocking decision. Craig, thank you for the call.
No bother. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
All the best.
See, last night, Martin, we're talking about players with an aura. I'm still seeing folk going in at McLaughlin, right? See, the day McLaughlin got past marks for me.
Mm-hmm.
McLaughlin made some great saves, and people are now jumping on. He kicked the ball at the park a few times. We've praised Alan McGregor since he came back to this club, and probably in his first term, when we had 11 guys on the park and he used to humph the ball at the park constantly. But we're now picking holes in McLaughlin because McLaughlin's not got that aura of he is good enough to be a Rangers number one. See, today we should be looking back and saying, what a save he had. As I say, I played in goals myself, know a wee tiny bit about goalkeeping. He saves the ball with his foot and manages to get up and run it. There was another one that came right at him, and rather than spilling it, he panned it down the way and then caught it before Boyle got in. John McLaughlin hardly put a foot wrong today. The only time he never made a constructive thing was in the last minute, and as I say, rather than the ball getting hoofed back straight away, it took to get thrown. So see the time they get the ball, throw it to Marshall and he kicks it long, it saves you a couple of seconds. Don't get me wrong, I agree with Curry on the phone that it's no ideal, but see when you've got 3 midgets and 5 defenders playing, there's no an option. So right away we're shooting him down, we're not allowing him to build the aura. We're not allowing people to see him as a Rangers number one because we're picking holes in, even when he's done absolutely nothing wrong and made a couple of cracking saves.
Can I just pick up on something Ross said there? See, we only made the 4 subs. See, when we were when McLaughlin was kicking it out, could you have not put like Sakara or somebody on so that we could keep it in play and Sakara could go and pressure them?
No, because I think we'd made
the 3 intervals. Is that actually a real one?
I think I would need to double check, but I'm pretty sure because I'm pretty sure Gio would have made a sub. Let's a wee tiny bit of positivity, right? I think we should look at because, like I say, well, it's early on in the season, right? And Sir Walter makes a good point. It goes one each, and we didn't panic. We got the ball down. We played okay, and Bournemouth shows us what he can do at left back. Ross was going on so much about it. I think he even spoke about it at half time. Get up that line and support Kent. Well, he does, and he delivers a perfect ball in for Lawrence.
So, I said it earlier. I said, if we're playing with Colak needs to. We need to get to the byline, and Burnley got to the byline. Colak made an amazing run. I put it in a group chat straight away. Colak made that goal for Lawrence. Great ball, absolute pin perfect. Great ball in for Lawrence. But if you look at that scene, you watch that goal, see as soon as he goes down the line, watch the movement for Colak. Colak pulls away a centre half, right to the edge of the 6-yard box, and the centre half runs with him. He makes a sprint across. Centre half runs with him, and the beautiful ball right in. And as I said, the bold Lawrence rose like a salmon.
He did. Can we be negative? Can we have arguments, Graham, about their equaliser, or was it just a case of just too much pressure?
If I'm going to be 100% honest, I kind of was expecting it coming, to be honest, mate. So, but I've not seen it back too much. But if I can be, I think Goldson moves away from it. But I don't know if he's thinking, if I get a touch on this, I might direct it towards goal type thing. So I'm not a defender. I don't know but I think that's something we could look at. But like we've said, McLaughlin had no chance in my opinion. It's right in the corner. He's got bodies in front of him. He needs to wait and make sure it doesn't touch one of them before he can fully make his movement.
For me, it's a worldie. It's a worldie. You can't quantify that. That boy's brought that down beautifully and struck it in half volley, and it swerved away for the goalie. I mean, it's a worldie. You just need to put your hands up and go, do you know what, son? That was a great strike. We'd be talking about that. See, if it was a Rangers player, we'd be talking about that for months.
It reminded me very much of, in the 55 season, Ryan Jack done the exact same thing at Kilmarnock. Takes it on the chest, hit it. Ryan Jack's goal in the Scottish Cup final last year, see when there's bodies in the box and a goalie's unsighted. Now, there was people saying McLaughlin should do better, right? It showed you it in slow motion from behind the striker, and see just as he hits the shot, Ryan Jack's head is there. McLaughlin can't see until the ball comes by him. Listen, the boy sliced it. He's probably not even hit it right, but the way he sliced it, it's always going away for John McLaughlin. There's no a goalie on earth who you would say saves that 10 times out of 10.
No, and listen, see if people want to go on about this whole John McLaughlin, Alan McGregor thing, Alan McGregor doesn't save that, right? No goalkeeper saves that, right? Jim Sloan's saying, no, Mark, look, you never duck, you take the hit. Is that fair on Goldson?
Aye, 100%. You've got to fly anything you can in front of that, but you just can't get there quick enough. The boy, as I said, sometimes you just need to put your hands up and do Colak. Do you know what? That was a worldie. For me, that was a great strike. Bottom line, I don't think anybody could have done anything any better to try and stop that. All right, maybe get out a wee bit quicker, but we're trying to split hairs here.
I know.
Me, a screamer. Boy had it squeezing up, and he'll probably never score a better goal than that in his life.
I know. So, Ross, the Rangers appeal both the Lundstram and the Morelos sending offs, or do we just appeal the Lundstram one?
Got to appeal the Lundstram one, mate. You could throw in an appeal for Morelos's, but there's no smoke without fire, and he's created smoke for himself for the ever since he's been in Scottish football. So see, as soon as he lashes out, as I say, see if he's. You need to watch it, Martin, do you know what I mean, and be prepared to look at it through neutral eyes. As I say, twice he's went with a hand. That could be an appeal, but it's the kick with the left foot at the same time. Why is he kicking his foot out? It's going to get through back. You could appeal just for the cheeky and trance your arm, but I think Lundstram's is a definite appeal, especially if you show them the footage that's going to put on Twitter the now, a Doyle Hayes' tackle and then that right after each other. Doyle Hayes is actually a worse tackle and he gets a booking, but I just don't see any way. I'm a Rangers fan and I don't see any way Morelos gets overturned because of the petulant kick. The hand, you could maybe make an excuse and say he's watching the ball, he's feeling for the defender, he's trying to work out what's run about him. It's the kick for me. He's hit him twice with his arm and then kicked the boy. You can say if you want, it wasn't a vicious kick, he wasn't excuse me, he wasn't trying to break his leg or anything like that, but how many times has he kicked out at players and got caught for it? He's as subtle as a hammer to the face, man. Honestly, he's no got any sort of streetwiseness about him. Everything he does, he gets caught because he makes it so damn obvious what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. He does. Right, we'll leave it there, gents. 2-2. Away from home, look, it's not the worst in the world. You know, we can obviously, it's early in the season, we can come back for it. We just need to improve and stop getting stupid red cards. The referee did not help the day at all, but I think most people would agree that, you know, Morelos has cost us a day. Also, the fact that we're, you know, incapable of putting teams to the sword when we really should be, because that was some. If it wasn't for see if that game had finished 2-2 and it was 11v11, that'd have been embarrassing because that Hibs team was woeful. But the fact that we're down to 9 men and we just couldn't see it out, it's disappointing. But we move on. For all the members watching, we'll be live tomorrow at 8 p.m. Hopefully you can join us then. If you're not a member, then you will catch us at 7:30 on Monday for the phone-in. Phone-in seem to be going really well. People seem to be enjoying them, so we're going to carry on doing them. So yeah, please do like and subscribe. Join as a member if you can. Join the Rabble community. Help us grow. Until then, thank you for watching, and we shall speak to you all very, very soon.